Welcome back to FryMinis. I'm Eric, and today we're going to take a look at Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets. Yeah, you heard that right. So Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, the official D&D 5e book, is now out. It's available. If you haven't seen it, check out our huge playlist full of videos covering all the major kind of information and sections in that book. So, but we did have some problems with it, right? The biggest thing for me was I really didn't like that we didn't have character subclass options for every single class. I think we could have squeezed those in there, but weren't there. So, good news, we have a solution. Our friends over at Splinterverse, they've created a really great PDF. It's available to download on the DMs Guild. It's $7.99. They sent this copy over to take a look at, to do this review. They didn't pay me. I didn't pay them. It's just we got the copy for free. So take this review however you want, but go check it out. It's pretty good. Before we jump in, though, I want to thank my patrons, the Spud Club. Your continued support has been huge in keeping FryMinis going. If you want to consider supporting the channel, head on over to patreon.com/FryMinis and help out for as little as $1 a month. And of course, we're always happy to have you over at discord.gg/FryMinis. So I'm going to tell you a little secret. This is actually my second time recording this video. I just got a new piece of software that I was trying out, and I forgot to turn it off. So we recorded the entire first version of this video with auto-tune on, chock full of juicy Fizban's delicious secrets. And if you want to take a look at it, we're going to have a link in the description. It'll be unlisted, so it won't show up in people's feeds. But if you want to see how silly things can be sometimes and how we always need to remember to do sound checks. Thanks, Dungeon Coach. It's a good place to start. So a little technical appreciation I have for this PDF. Everything is linked out and bookmarked and set up, so it's very easy to use. And Splinterverse has included tons of stuff here. So, I mean, $7.99 is, I think, a pretty good price. You're getting a subclass, a dragon-related subclass for every single class. And we're going to actually do a deep dive into one of these here after we finish this overview. We have brand new dragon-related backgrounds. We have a whole bunch of new spells, including some cantrips. We have feats, magic items, draconic gifts, new dragon horde items, an entire list of dragon-themed trinkets, little tiny baby dragonlings, and something I really think is cool, adventure hooks for all of that. So to keep a little bit of the mystery alive for this PDF, we're not going to do deep dives into everything here, but I do want to show off a particular subclass. So this is the Bard College of Wealth. One of my biggest complaints with Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, the official book, was that we didn't have those subclasses for everything, right? And a lot of the feedback I saw on my videos, comments and things were, it'd be a waste of time, right? Like, you don't want to give just, okay, every class, here you go, you've got Dragon's Breath and you can fly. Oh, and you can shoot fire or stuff like that. And I thought that was silly. Like, it's Wizards of the Coast. They're making D&D. I trust that they can, if they want to, they can come up with these subclasses that are themed appropriately without just being copy and paste of dragon stats onto a subclass. And so this College of Wealth, I think, does a fantastic job of illustrating how dragon adjacent subclasses would still make sense here. So the College of Wealth is it's themed around growing your own kind of hoard of gold. And before we go into that, keep in mind, like, you could also reskin this really easily. So maybe it's not just a dragon horde. Maybe it's you play it as like an undead type of thing, and it's like a mummy's tomb, and their buried treasure, or pirate, like a million different options. The point is, we can have these things that make sense in a dragon book, but aren't literally, here's a dragon. Okay, so time for a deep dive. Bards of the College of Wealth seek fortune in return for their tales. These bards use gems and art to bring their spells to life. They believe in the inherent power of wealth, and they often have hordes rivaling those of ancient dragons. With an appraising eye and powerful magical abilities, adherents to the College of Wealth are formidable foes that never forget when someone has wronged them. Bards of the College of Wealth often have a personal hoard of things they value greatly that they have collected or aspire to collect. Use the personal hoards table to identify or inspire your personal hoard. So it's really cool flavor right off the bat. And to help you reinforce that, we've got a D12 list of different kinds of hoards you might build. So we've got things like artwork, magic items, diverse coins, animal skins, just these big collections. I would probably put D&D miniatures in my hoard. Bards from this college like to perform songs about riches, wealth, and great acquisitions. Use the Songs of Wealth table to choose or inspire your bard songs. So this is a D10 list full of different songs, and they're just nice little names. I mean, there might be more to it that I'm not getting if these are references to like real songs. I'm not a music genius here, but I think it's important, especially with a bard, to flavor a lot of your mechanics and your songs, especially if when you're doing your performance checks. It's fun to have a particular genre of music you might like. Okay, so let's look at some actual mechanics. Of course, this is a bard subclass, so these begin at level 3. Appraising magic. As part of your studies, you learn specific spells that allow you to determine the value of items. You learn comprehend language, detect magic, and identify. These spells count as bard spells for you, but don't count against the number of bard spells you know. You can expend a use of bardic inspiration in order to cast these spells without using a spell slot. Additionally, you learn the mage hand cantrip, which doesn't count against the number of bard cantrips you know. So I'll admit, I don't understand where mage hand comes from in here. I mean, mage hand is great. I'll take mage hand, but I'm missing the connection there too. But those 3 spells, I mean, those are kind of fundamental spells that a lot of people will end up taking anyway. So I like it. And because you already know these spells, that gives you a little bit more flexibility in your regular spell selection. This is also, to me, this is kind of a nice note, because my first D&D experience ever was playing Baldur's Gate, the original game from 98, 99. And there was a stat, it was lore. And so the higher your lore stat, the more you knew about things. So you could, if you found a new magic sword, if you had a high lore stat, you might be able to just automatically know what it is without casting Identify, for example. And bards had an extremely high lore stat. So when I first started playing 5e, I was looking for that, and I was surprised to not find it. So it's nice that this is kind of a little throwback to that. Next, we have Monetary Focus, also at 3rd level. You are able to employ gems or art objects as spellcasting tools. You can use any gem or art object worth at least 10 gold pieces as a spellcasting focus for your bard spells. You must be able to hold this focus in one hand. Additionally, you can determine the monetary value of gems and art objects by examining them for 1 minute. That's cool. I like the idea of using these kind of fancy things as spellcasting focuses. Foci? Focu. It makes sense with the class. It's flavorful. It's not going to really make or break anything. And this does set up some of our upcoming features. And knowing how much things are worth, like that, sure, that makes sense. Detect Hoard is also at 3rd level. You have the innate ability to sense large quantities of treasure. As an action, you can expend a use of bardic inspiration to focus your awareness around you. For 1 minute, you can sense whether there is a treasure hoard within 1 mile of you. This feature doesn't reveal the hoard's location, its contents, or if there is more than one hoard within range. So this is one of those things that might be campaign specific. You might want to talk to your DM before selecting this subclass. Of course, if there are dragons, it makes sense. But this also might be one of those times where it's very useful to expand the definition of hoard outside of dragons. So when you're talking about the mummies we mentioned before, or rich nobles that you want to steal from, things like that, just to get a little bit more utility out of it, or making sure it's not completely useless. And you might say, what? Sometimes, it doesn't feel good to have such a specific feature, but think about if you want to play like a Triton and you're in the desert campaign, like that swim speed and that water breathing might not be used, and that's just part of what it is. So I'm okay with it. Okay, at 6th level, we have our next feature. Greater monetary focus. Your ability to use gems or art objects as spellcasting focus increases. You must now attune to your monetary focus. When you attune to a gem or art object of at least 250 gold pieces of value, you gain a +1 bonus to spell attack rolls and saving throw DCs of your bard spells. At 14th level, if you attune to a gem or art object of at least 1,000 gold pieces of value, you gain a +2 bonus to spell attack rolls and saving throw DCs of your bard spells. So I like this scaling. I like tying it to the gold piece value. I think that's cool, and that's just like those prices seem reasonable for most setting gold values. And of course, if you're playing in a low gold setting, maybe you want to tweak those values or flip-flop around the other way too. I don't like, though, that you have to attune to something you've already been using. I don't like that at all. I would maybe make it to where if you want to get these extra boosts, you have to attune to it. But if you've been using a Pearl for 3 levels now, and now you hit level 6 and now you have to attune to it, what if you have 3 really great magic items that you don't want to give up? Better attunement. I don't know. That doesn't feel good, but the idea outside of that, I like it a lot. In our capstone at 14th level, transmute value. You learn a ritual to change one object of great value into another object of great value. As a 1-hour ritual, you can expend 50 gold pieces worth of metal to change a non-magical item into another non-magical item of equal value. Additionally, as a 1-hour ritual, you can expend 500 gold pieces worth of gems to change a magical item into another magical item of equal value approved by the DM. This ritual does not work on artifacts. I like the idea here. I think the intent is good. I think you might see a lot of people arguing about what is one object, even the non-magical. Like, is a catapult one object? You know, and stuff like that. So if your group is cool and flexible and understanding that we're playing a game and we're not trying to cheat our friends, like that sounds really neat. But the magic item, I know as DM, I like to have control over which magic items, and sometimes I'll scare myself with some random tables, but generally I like to put out specific items. So ultimately, I like the idea of this, and I kind of like the idea of flavoring it, so much so that you're not changing an item into another item, but your hoard is so big, maybe you're paying somebody 50 gold or 500 gold to go dig out what you're looking for from your hoard. So like you've got everything, but you just need help finding it. I think that could be kind of a Scrooge McDuck kind of funny situation. So yeah, I think the College of Wealth, the Bard subclass, I think this is really neat. I love the idea. And I think you get a lot of value out of $8 with this PDF. I think there's a lot of really great stuff here, a lot of great jumping off points. There are a couple of like formatting issues, minor stuff. I've seen like things that should be bold that aren't bold, periods, punctuation, little stuff, nothing that's going to be a deal breaker, especially for only $8. So just like any homebrew type stuff, check with your dungeon master before you jump in on it though. Some people like homebrew stuff, some people don't like homebrew stuff. A lot of Splinterverse content is really great, and I think this stacks up with it too. So good work, Splinterverse. Again, links in the description for everything. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out the auto-tune version of this video if you want. Okay, everybody, thank you. See you next time.